the Golden State Warriors. And now, the reason why I'm making this video is because I have been depressed as a Golden State Warriors fan these last couple years. Because these last couple years have been really bad for Warriors fans. Now, before I get to the video, like and subscribe, as we have had insane growth in this channel. My Sports Media vs. Bronny James video has hit 12K views. I appreciate you for that. And we have also hit 155 subscribers. We're so close to 200 subscribers. Let's get it done, and let's go ahead and roll the intro.
And I gotta worry about trade talk. I'm the MVP. I'm the MVP of this league. The best basketball players in the world. I was honored with the MVP. The MVP, the best basketball player in the world. And when I lose, this is what I gotta go through.
You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
Okay.
Fellas, we work all year long for it, man. Shaq the man, most dominant player in the world. Championship, it's ours. Love it, it's beautiful. Mwah, 2G, baby, you love it. We out.
It's showtime, folks.
So, when it comes to the Golden State Warriors, there is a bunch of problems with this team, but let's start with the biggest one in the room, Klay Thompson. Now, Klay Thompson is now a Dallas Maverick, and it was a couple of different things that was able to come in place for him to be able to be a Maverick. First of all, Klay Thompson requested a contract that just wasn't good enough for him. Klay Thompson at first won a max, and he wanted the most money he could capitalize on, as he is obviously regressing as a player and not the same player he was defensively. Still has a shot on him, even though he went 0-for-10 against the Kings, but he still has a shot, and he's still able to be an amazing offensive weapon. The Golden State Warriors didn't want to give him the max and didn't want to give him money, as they said they didn't have any money. But then they go and they backdoor Klay Thompson, and they tried to pull off a Paul George trade, which doesn't work because the Los Angeles Clippers decided to let him walk and not on the trade with the Golden State Warriors. So instead, the Clippers let him walk, and he went to the Sixers, and the Clippers got nothing. Anyways, I'm done for the Clippers. Anyways. So when it comes to the Golden State Warriors, they just lost one of their offensive weapons for nothing. And honestly, if they would have got Paul George in the process, it wouldn't have been that bad of a deal, as Paul George is an obvious upgrade over Klay Thompson, and he was able to shift the team. He's able to shift the team better to be a contender. But now that the Warriors want Klay Thompson and didn't get him return, instead they got Buddy Hield and slow-mo Kyle Anderson. It's looking kind of dim for the Golden State Warriors. And you're probably wondering, well, they won the NBA championship in 2022. How did they get this far where they're now not even they didn't even make the play-in. They didn't make the playoffs last season. And now we're getting to a point where they might not even make the playoffs. Well, we got to this point because the Golden State Warriors didn't want to trade their young players. After they won the championship in 2022, they thought that the ability to rebuild around young players and veteran players would work for the foreseeable future. But it didn't. As Jordan Poole was obviously had a horrible season that year. And those young players just didn't prove to be able to play special when it came to time. So Ben was content on trading these young players, even after the Warriors won the NBA championship. I made a video and I talked about it, and I said that the Golden State Warriors need to trade Jordan Poole, Kuminga, Moody, all these young players, because we need to profit off of them. The Golden State Warriors have to win with Curry, Klay, and Draymond. It doesn't matter who else is there. We can rebuild after them, because the ability to rebuild is not as hard as it used to be. It's still hard to rebuild around. But when you have competent front office members, you can still be able to execute a rebuild efficiently. But we need to win the NBA championship. That should be our priority, not trying to be able to rebuild and also contend. Those two different things are one is the positive, one is the negative. They can't go together. That's not possible. So when the Golden State Warriors tried to do that, it worked for 1 year, and yes, it did it because the spectacular play of Klay Thompson and also the very good performance by the role players that nobody expected. I mean, the spectacular performance by Stephen Curry, not Klay Thompson, and also the overperformance from the role players that people didn't expect was able to allow this Golden State Warriors team to actually beat the Boston Celtics and win the NBA championship. When it came to you after, Jordan Poole didn't play that good. When it came to you after, these role players didn't play as well as they played the previous season, and it allowed it relied on Stephen Curry heavily. And then when it comes to Klay Thompson just isn't the player as before, so he's a liability on defense, and also his inconsistent shooting also required this team to not win certain games. And then also Draymond Green is still a good defender, a good playmaker, but his inability to stay on the floor due to suspensions, due to him getting ejected, is also an issue. So how do we fix this issue? Well, the Golden State Warriors really can't fix this issue right now because two things. One, there is a new CBA that's getting activated this year, and this is the reason why a lot of teams are really scared to be able to get these certain players with high contracts. Because if you're over the second tax apron, there is a bunch of negatives that comes when you're over this second tax apron. I'm not gonna go into detail. I'm not going to detail, as I'm gonna go more into a different video I'm gonna make. But just know that you can lose picks, you can lose money, and you can lose certain things that will help you be able to win NBA championships. So a lot of teams are scared to even go over this second tax apron. So when it comes to Golden State Warriors, we trade for a player that has over a certain amount of money. We're going to be over this second tax apron. And being over this second tax apron is not going to allow the Golden State Warriors to execute a rebuild that they want to do after they contend for championships. That's the problem with this team. This team is so bent on doing two things at one time instead of focusing on the thing that's in front of them. A generational Stephen Curry. That player, that talent is not going to be replicated over and over again. You have to prioritize him and prioritize him winning NBA championships. But the Golden State Warriors are doing that. The Golden State Warriors are still trying to keep these young players and not trading them. And the thing is that even if the Golden State Warriors trade them, it's not going to be for what they wanted before. Because Jordan Poole, after the 2022 NBA championship, had a high stock value. A lot of people are high on him. A lot of people was high on Jordan Poole, but since they didn't capitalize on the trading, the Washington Wizards capitalized on it and traded for him. Which is why the Washington Wizards traded for him, because they thought he'll be the leading ball handler and he'll play as good as he did. And I was right, which I knew he wasn't based on what the Golden State Warriors did. The Golden State Warriors system had hid a lot of his flaws. But when Stephen Curry got injured the next year, and Jordan Poole was allowed to handle the main ball handler duties, you can see those flaws in Jordan Poole, and those flaws carried over even when Stephen Curry got back. So that drained his stock. When Kuminga was a rookie and he was showing flashes of what he could be before, in his second year, but the Warriors didn't trade him, that drained his stock. Moses Booty is not playing as much as he did before, that drained his stock. James Wiseman is Detroit Piston. That's all I gotta say. When you have these certain young players that you're not capitalizing on and you're allowing their stock to decrease, that means that we're not going to get a lot for them. Now, the last point making this video is that a lot of Warriors fans are mad that the Warriors didn't go for Zach LaVine, and honestly, it makes sense. Zach LaVine is making so much money where the Warriors are gonna be over the second tax apron, so there's no way around that. That's one. And two, Zach LaVine does shift our team, but it doesn't shift our team as much as Paul George did. Whether you like it or not, I think Paul George is a better player than Zach LaVine when it comes to fit. Zach LaVine is going to be on this Golden State Warriors team, and it's not going to give the Golden State Warriors what we need, which is the defense. We need defense and offensive scoring, which is what Paul George can provide. Paul George is a good defender, or I'm going to say decent to good defender so far. He's a decent to good defender, and he's a more offensive weapon that can fit into the system than Zach LaVine. So that's why Paul George will be able to shift the Warriors' position higher than Zach LaVine. And also, even though Paul George will make all that money, we will still be barely by the second tax apron. Zach LaVine is almost making $40 to $50 million. That's a lot of money for a player like him. And he's probably not gonna get moved. Sorry, Bulls fans. So when it comes to Golden State Warriors, what can they do? Honestly, the Golden State Warriors really only have a couple options. They can try to trade the young talent and try to trade these picks that they got and try to get something for this team to be able to contend. Or they could just do what they gotta do and just run it out this season. See what Steph Curry wants to do, and if he wants to trade, go and rebuild, because it's just not going to be able to work with this team. Looks like the Warriors fans are gonna have another depressing season where we'll probably make the playoffs or we get on the first round.
It's the 126.
Swear I'm tired of all these hoes sneaking, trying to set me up. If you play around with the game, we gon' pull up, shoot it up. No route, I swear I gotta blow up all that route, shit ain't no choice. I here thuggin' with the boys, if 556 and make some noise. Green bitch, she said my ARP, it look just like a toy. Got that blick on side my hip, you run up on me, I'm gon' blow it. Feel like Franklin, got it snowing. When I run down, you will not know it. Got some cars and I won't show 'em, but I promise I'm gon' blow 'em. Standing on so much business, I done up, broke my back. Nigga done stuck deep in the pussy, pull it out the big tracks. Yeah, I took that nigga shit and he won't get it back, and that's a fact.